I just want to move on to Europe here for a second. There are several terror events in Europe by Europeans recently. Now, each one of the bad guys was already known to security services. Good example being here in the UK. They had somebody who was on MI5's radar. He went off to join ISIS, and he became the Jihadi John.
Jihadi John, the British ISIS militant identified by Western intelligence as Mohammed Emwazi, terrified Western audiences.
And he became the Jihadi John. So your thoughts, is this because we have too much data or too many people on the terror watch list? There's not enough real intelligence? What's going on here?
Well, Max, this may be too much for you guys, but let me give you the bottom line as I see it. Number one, there is no negotiating with banks. The hell with them. Throw them out of the country, go back to public banking, okay? Period. Number two, most terrorists are false flag terrorists or are created by our own security services.
There was a sacred chord David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya?
Number two, most terrorists are false flag terrorists or are created by our own security services. Now, I have no direct access in England, but I will tell you that here in the United States, every single terrorist incident we have had has been a false flag or has been an informant pushed on by the FBI. In fact, we now have citizens taking out restraining orders against FBI informants that are trying to incite terrorism. We've become a lunatic asylum. As far as Jihadi John, the best guess that I can give you is that this is funded by Saudi Arabia, trained by CIA. This destruction of ancient artifacts and so on, that's a covert action influence operation. That's not something they would normally do. This is, in one word, largely theater.
Western audiences.
All right, Robert, let me jump in and digress slightly, because on one hand, you're pointing out what you call harsh truths. On the other hand, you're offering up what you believe to be part of the solution. And this would get back to the open source everything manifesto. Am I correct in saying that one way to combat what you're calling false flag operations and a lot of insider skullduggery is to go open source? In other words, take all this data and make it public. So what's your view on like an Edward Snowden or Julian Assange? I mean, they have worked to open things up in a very public way. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's a good thing. But again, Max, I mean, you're one of the most sophisticated guys I talk to, and your listeners are among the most intelligent. Everything is nuanced. I mean, take Assange, for example. Assange was a good thing, but he also had Mossad connections. Snowden is a good thing, but right now all indications are that he's a CIA op that was authorized by Obama to take NSA down a notch. And the reason that the State Department canceled his passport while he was en route to Russia was precisely to throw him in front of the Russians as a dangle. So all of this stuff is complicated.